Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're embarking on quite a fascinating exploration.
We are indeed.
We're looking into the world of seemanHo, a London-based multidisciplinary artist. You might know them by their artist name, Kutu.
Which translates from Cantonese, right? To 2 dogs plus 11 cats. A very distinctive name.
It really is. And we've got quite a bit to draw on for this deep dive.
Yeah, we have information from their website, a really interesting magazine article that gets into their motivations, and just details about their artistic practice, which is incredibly broad.
So our mission today is to really try and understand the core of artistic vision. What's driving this incredibly diverse creative output?
Exactly. We want to offer you, the listener, a sort of concise but thorough understanding of what makes their work tick, what makes it so compelling.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Starting with that name, 2 dogs plus 11 cats. It definitely sticks with you.
It does, and it's not random at all. The sources tell us it comes from a really personal place, their love for their adopted animals. Ah, okay. So right from the name, there's this hint of empathy, of connection to other creatures.
Precisely. It signals a theme that just keeps coming up in their work, this deep care for, well, all living things.
And when we say multidisciplinary, wow. It almost feels like an understatement, doesn't it?
It really does. I mean, the list is huge. Installation art, painting, performance art, text, sculpture, video, sound art.
Sound therapy even?
Yeah.
Music composition, theater direction. It's quite the spectrum.
It is. And what's compelling is how these aren't just separate things they do.
Right. They seem to intersect somehow.
Exactly. They're like interconnected expressions all flowing from this central concern for, environmental issues, ecology, mindfulness.
No, that's the thread tying it all together.
That seems to be it. That core focus gives it coherence. Like, their sound installations might use visuals, maybe spoken word.
Creating something really immersive.
Yeah, to amplify that message about our connection to nature. Okay, now, the term eco-art comes up. And apparently Duty C was key in introducing this to Hong Kong back in 2010.
That's right, the Reclamation Exercise Eco-Art Exhibition. It sounds like it was a really significant moment.
What did that involve?
Well, they used thousands of discarded glass bottles. Thousands. The idea was partly to show art diversity, but also a really powerful statement about waste.
Just the sheer volume of bottles speaks volumes, I guess.
Absolutely. And it gets to the heart of eco-art, which isn't just about showing environmental issues, but often uses sustainable practices or natural or, like here, discarded materials.
It raises an interesting point, though. The art world itself, it can generate a lot of waste, can't it?
Oh, for sure. It's a real tension.
So how does Do address that in their own practice? Is it just about the big statements like the bottle exhibition?
No, it seems much more ingrained than that. The sources really emphasize their consistent use of natural and discarded materials. It's a conscious choice, a response to that very footprint you mentioned.
So it's an ethical commitment, not just aesthetics.
Exactly. You see it across the board, big installations, smaller pieces. It seems to be a core part of their philosophy.
And the themes running through the work, nature, life itself, that tension between humans and the environment.
But also love, mindfulness, equality. They're fundamental, aren't they?
They are, and you can see how they'd all connect and feed into each other.
Definitely. It's like they're exploring this whole complex web. It's not just pointing out problems, but trying to foster maybe a sense of care, responsibility.
Interconnectedness.
Yes, that's a great word for it. And they've done collaborations too, right, with commercial companies.
Yeah, Chanel, LUSH are mentioned.
Yeah.
But also groups like Oxfam and Greenpeace.
Which is interesting. It suggests they're trying to bring these themes, these conversations to different spaces, different audiences, a sort of practical way to raise awareness.
That blend of artistic integrity and, pragmatic engagement is fascinating. Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Music. This seems to have become more prominent since around 2017.
It has. And again, what's interesting is how it's not separate. It's woven into everything else.
Like that project Walking on the Lake.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That combined music, video, poetry, a really good example of that integrated approach. Since then, composing, performing, even curating music events.
And the handpan. That instrument seems pretty central, especially since they moved to London around 2020.
Yes, the handpan. They've performed at Hangout UK, Latitude Festival. Quite significant events.
For anyone who doesn't know, it's that steel instrument, looks a bit like a UFO, makes these beautiful resonant sounds.
It really does. And the magazine article mentions something quite poetic about it. How So she feels it's like an instrument almost new to the earth, offering this huge sonic space.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like it resonates with their whole worldview, somehow completes or articulates their vision. It's quite profound.
And it's not just performance, is it? They use it in sound journeys, art events, even on something called the Zen bus.
Huh? Yeah, the Zendo bus sounds intriguing. But yes, it points to this deep interest in the therapeutic side of sound.
Sound therapy, using vibrations and frequencies for well-being.
Pretty much. They use the handpan, tongue drums, singing bowls, frame drums, harmonium, even mantra and poetry. And this comes from studies they did in the UK.
So it's a really holistic view. Art, sound, healing, well-being, all connected.
That's exactly the feeling you get.
Which brings us nicely to Two Dogs Backyard Art and Healing Studio. Started in Hong Kong, now near an ancient woodland in London.
Yeah, that move itself seems significant, doesn't it? From a bustling art center to near this tranquil woodland.
It really underscores that focus on art, healing, and nature.
And the studio's aim is explicitly stated. Sound and art in the woods. Focusing on healing vibration, forest bathing, which is about mindfully immersing yourself in nature, sound journeys, visual art. It all ties together.
Their dedication goes beyond the studio, too, into actual hands-on activism, forming Friends of Muo Cattle, FOMC.
Yes, back in 2012, this really stands out. It wasn't just making art about an issue.
They took action.
Direct action. There was a plan to relocate these local cattle, and they formed this group, Curated, to advocate for conservation.
That's serious commitment.
It is.
Yeah.
And you see it in the smaller things, too. The sources mention daily acts, feeding geckos, sheltering frogs, rescuing a cat. It seems deeply ingrained.
Plus, they hosted radio and webcast shows about animal rights before that, too.
Right, Animal Panic and Circle Round Animal and Plants. So it's a long-standing passion that clearly informs the art, but also exists alongside it as direct action.
It really paints a picture of someone living their values. Okay, what about their writing? They published books, too.
Yes, several significant ones. Circle Round the Universe from 2012 is described as pioneering for local reading on animal liberation.
In Hong Kong.
Yes. Drawing inspiration from classic texts, but tackling modern issues like factory farming.
That sounds important.
And then They Are the Eyes of Equals in 2013, apparently the first book specifically on animal rights and welfare in Hong Kong.
Wow, the first.
Yeah.
And it's now in university libraries in Taiwan.
Yeah, which speaks to its impact, its scholarly value, beyond just the art world.
And didn't their first book have something unusual about it?
Ah, yes. When Girl Meets Raindrop. Painted entirely with their left hand.
Their non-dominant hand.
Presumably. Maybe exploring different ways of creating different perspectives. It's these little details, isn't it?
They really add layers. Now, thinking about recognition, A Tree to Be Found, that won an award at the Hong Kong Art Biennial.
It did. A major installation. And it was later acquired by the Hong Kong Museum of Art.
Which is significant validation, right? It
Yeah.
establishes its importance.
Absolutely. And their work's been shown internationally too. Spain, Portugal, other places. It has that wider resonance.
There was also a design award.
That's right. Bronze Prize at the Hong Kong Designers Association Awards 2005 for the book design of two dogs making clothes, making herbal soup. Shows that breadth of skill again.
Even animation. The Circus of NZIV got into film festivals, and they've done artist residencies.
Yes, in the UK, USA, Hong Kong, France, those residencies are often crucial for artists, aren't they?
Time and space to experiment, reflect.
Exactly. And experiencing different cultures, different creative environments, it must feed back into the work, adding to that multifaceted perspective.
There's a quote, I think, from Ming Pao Weekly magazine that really struck me. It talked about the sweet surface of the work.
Ah, yes. But underneath.
A world of blood and chaos, reflecting compassion, but also deep concern.
It's a powerful quote. It captures that depth, that seriousness beneath what might seem poetic or whimsical on the surface, addressing difficult things, but with empathy. Urgency, even.
And that same article said something like, if she loses her creative freedom one day, she will not be able to live.
Which is incredibly strong. It underlines how fundamental creation is to them. It's not just a job.
It's essential to their being.
It feels like it, an intrinsic need. And maybe that's the engine driving all this diverse output.
It all seems so interconnected. The article suggests you really need to look at the whole picture, right? Not just individual pieces.
I think that's absolutely right. The visual art, the music, the writing, the activism, they're all facets of this single complex worldview. You have to see the connections to really get it.
And their website sums it up as exploring the conflict between humankind and the environment.
A conflict that feels more relevant than ever, unfortunately.
So wrapping up our deep dive on Aldu, we've really seen this picture emerge of a remarkable multidisciplinary artist.
Absolutely. With this incredibly strong, unwavering focus on environmental issues, animal rights.
And using art and music, especially sound therapy, in these innovative ways for healing, for connection.
All driven by what seems like a really deep, personal, almost existential need to create.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you, our listener. Thinking about huge range of work, how does knowing about an artist's personal values, their passions, actually deepen how you appreciate their art? Does it change your perspective?
And maybe more broadly, what can we learn from someone so dedicated to both their artistic expression and this profound ecological mindfulness? What can that teach us in our own lives?